Welcome back. This is John Locke, and today I'm coming with a announcement from a few days ago. By the time you see this, it'll probably be about a week ago, but this is from the Google Webmaster Central blog uh, about rich snippets, and specifically the review stars, which you sometimes see display in search results. And this is a pretty major change. So if you have recently seen this type of review stars in your search engine results disappear, this could be why. So, this article from the 16th of September 2019 says that search results that are enhanced by review rich results can be helpful when searching for new products or services. And to make them more helpful and meaningful, we're introducing algorithmic updates to reviews and rich snippets. And this also addresses some of the invalid or misleading implementations that webmasters have flagged to us. So Google is going to start focusing on schema types that lend themselves to reviews. And technically, you can attach review markup to any schema type. And displaying stars sometimes does not add much value to the user. So for one, they're going to limit the types of schema that can potentially trigger rich reviews, rich results in reviews. And they're only going to work for these specific types of schema markup. So it would be for books, courses, creative work seasons, creative work series, episodes, events, game, how to, local business, media object, movie, music playlist, music recording, organization, product, recipe, and software application. Now you'll see that local business and organization were on this list. They still can potentially trigger rich snippet review stars. But here's the part that's going to affect a lot of things. Now, mind you, they said they're going to roll this out slowly. But this part is the part that I want you to focus on, where it says self-serving reviews are not allowed for a local business and organization. Google says reviews that can be perceived as self-serving are not in the best interest of users. And they call reviews self-serving when a review about entity A is placed on the website of entity A, either directly in the markup or via an embedded third-party widget. And that is why, with this change, we're not going to display review-rich results for anyone. Oh, sorry. They're not going to display review-rich results anymore for the schema types, local business, and organization, and their subtypes in cases when the entity being reviewed controls the reviews themselves. So potentially, what this means is if you are adding schema markup to your site and you're adding review markup, aggregate rating, at some point that's going to fall off and that is going to disappear at some point, I think is the implication of this. If you're using review markup to mark up a local business or organization, at some point these review stars are not going to appear in the search results anymore. So they updated this on September the 18th, and they said, to explain more, in the past, an entity like a business or organization could add review markup about themselves to their homepage or another page and often cause a review snippet to show for that page. That markup could have been added directly by the entity, the organization, or embedded through the use of a third-party widget. Now, this has big implications too, where it talks about the use of a third-party widget. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But Google says we consider this self-serving because the entity itself has chosen to add the markup to its own pages about its business or organization. Self-serving reviews are no longer displayed for businesses and organizations for the local business and organization schema types. For example, we will no longer display rich review snippets for how people have reviewed a business if those reviews are considered self-serving. So it sounds like they're going to do this algorithmically and they're rolling it out bit by bit. Now it says that reviews are allowed and displayed for other schema types listed in the documentation, when they talk about a cooking site. So recipe, movies, book reviews, creative work reviews, all those things not going to be affected at all. This is basically targeting manipulation of schema markup by local businesses to make stars appear. So here's the frequently asked questions. What if I'm using a third-party widget to display reviews about my business? And Google says, Google search won't display review snippets for those pages. Embedding a third-party widget is seen as controlling the process of linking reviews. I want to go to this right over here. This was an embedded tweet on the Bright Local blog. And this says, they said, will the third-party review widget still push star ratings to SERPs? And their interpretation is, according to Google, no. While the reviews themselves might live on a different authoritative and trusted domain like TripAdvisor or Trustpilot, Google's statements strongly suggest that this markup will be ignored too. And this is a statement that was recently confirmed by Google's own representative, John Mueller. So this person asks, my understanding, if you use a third-party tool like Trustpilot to show reviews and markup, that's fine, as you cannot screen out any bad or negative reviews. But what is not okay is to collate your own first-party reviews and in theory screen out bad ones and markup not okay. So you would be controlling the markup manually on your own site. And this person says, showing first-party reviews is fine, just not with structured data. John Mueller says, I double-checked to make sure that is incorrect. Regardless of how the reviews are embedded on your site via a widget or not, if it's for your own local business or organization, they would be considered self-serving and not be shown. So Bright Local goes on to say, regardless of where the reviews live and the widgets are from, if the entity being reviewed is the same entity that the website is about, so the reviewed entity is your website, and it's on your website, review schema markup for local business and organization will be ignored. So I just want to go into and say this right now. Today is the 22nd of September. Now, I have clients that are using third-party widgets to embed reviews. I have friends that I know are using structured data to reflect the accurate aggregate rating and review stars for their businesses. And in the cases that I have checked so far, I am still seeing review stars. Now, this has only been 5 days, 7 days since the original announcement. So this eventually will take effect. So Bright Local says, will this affect my rankings or cause a penalty? We have it on good authority that using review schema markup on local business and organization schema types will not negatively affect rankings or cause penalties, but this will simply cause the review rich result, the star rating, to no longer appear. Okay, so back to the Google Webmaster Blog. Do you need to remove self-serving reviews? No, don't remove them. Google search just won't display those star snippets anymore. Will you get a manual action for having self-serving reviews on your site? You will not get a manual action just for this. However, we recommend making sure that your structured data matches our guidelines. And there's a link here. Does this affect your Google My Business listing or profile? No, Google My Business is not affected, as this update only relates to organic search, so the regular search results. Will sites that gather reviews about other organizations be affected? No, that is unchanged. Sites that gather reviews can show up with review snippets for their reviews of other organizations in search results. So if there is a third party like Yelp, like Home Advisor, like Angie's List, or something like that, drop your industry in there. There might be a site that collects reviews. Those reviews would be unaffected. This is specifically targeting people who are using structured data to make stars appear for their own organization, or people who are using a third-party widget embedded on their site to show star ratings. Those are going to drop off. So does this update apply to aggregate rating too? Of course, yes. It applies to review and aggregate rating. How do I report if a self-serving review is still appearing in search? They're considering making a special form. Add the name of the item that's being reviewed. So with this update, the name property is now required. So you want to make sure that you specify the name of the item that's being reviewed. So if you're using structured data, got to add the name. So this is pretty big news. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you are seeing your star ratings in the organic search results fall off, this is probably why. My name's John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. I'm here every single day making videos on SEO. I really appreciate all the people who have come on and subscribed recently. Super, super appreciate it. I'll be here tomorrow. Until next time, peace.